Hello, and welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I am Stacey Earlywine, and did it turn fall on us?
It did!
What?
Yay! It's kind of cold out there this morning.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yes, it's nice.
Yeah, I got out, and I got in my car. For some reason, Jim had my car out of the garage, and I walked out the door and was like, wow, this might be a day to open the windows and let some fresh air. I love a day when you open up the windows and let fresh air in. Yeah. Are you one of those people?
No, I don't really. I don't. It usually makes me sneeze too much.
Does
and there's
it?
always somebody mowing and allergies. I just usually keep the windows shut.
That's the best part of spring and the best part of fall. Open up the windows and letting it. I love it when it just. Sometimes you come to my house and all sheer curtains are just blowing all over the place. Yeah, I do love it. But it's going to be an interesting day. Kids go back to school.
I know. Yeah, I have 3 kids that are going back to school this week. One starting junior high, one starting high school, and one starting college. It's a really big year for us.
It's big.
Everybody's at a
oh my
point,
gosh. Silas is going to junior high. Wow.
Yeah, he's very excited about it. So I hope he has a great year.
Oh, I bet he does. Oh, yeah. I've been thinking about Chris going to high school. That'll be interesting. I don't worry about Malia.
Yeah, no. We don't worry about the oldest one.
We don't worry about the oldest one.
She's got things together. The other 2 sometimes worry us.
That's so funny. But
kids.
I love this time of year. I like seeing the school buses, and I don't know. I'm glad we live in where we live because I like a change of seasons. I don't think I'd want to live somewhere where it was the same all the time.
I've thought about that. I've thought about if I moved really far north because I like cold weather and it's cold all year, would I really truly like that, or would I sometimes wish that I had my 4 seasons? Because I do get used to the 4 seasons.
Like if you lived out in California and it was just 70 all year long, I think it would be kind of boring.
I do too.
Honestly, I mean, I like the change of seasons.
Phoenix is the same way. Like it's a little cooler there in the summer, but I just don't dig that. I don't want.
Yeah, see, I like the change. I like to see the trees, but I like to see them change. There's nothing more beautiful than the change of colors on the trees.
I agree.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I got an exchange student.
Oh, yeah. I forgot you told me that. So tell me about him.
Fabian. Yes, he's a 16-year-old boy. He's from Germany. And, he's a really good kid. Jim and I picked him up. I came home from Florida on Friday, and we picked Fabian up at the airport in St. Louis on Saturday.
Oh, cool.
Real good kid. He's, we wouldn't register. Oh, Beth. Oh, my gosh.
What'd you do?
I had to go. Jim's like, hey, go register Fabian for school. I haven't registered a kid in school since 2012. And and when I did it, it wasn't on the computer. So we walk in there, and they're like, oh, here's the computer screen. You know what I did?
Oh,
Total panic.
Can't believe you didn't text me. Well, Fabian, was he with you? He can do it.
He did good, but there were some questions that I had to do and that poor little girl that works in there, that Harris girl was probably like, I'm like, excuse me, there's a lot of little red blocks on the screen. It won't let me go. And she'd get up and she did. She was really nice.
She's so nice.
And then Toby came in. I'm like, Toby, I hate technology. Why am I here? I said, why did Jim make me do this? But it was all over the computer. I think we registered Jim twice, and I registered Jim as a student. So it's like, congratulations, Flora High School. It's a 60-year-old man. And
that's hilarious.
So it's like his list of parents is like Jim Earlywine, Stacey Earlywine. And then they're like, this is funny too, because then they're like, Stacey, we need a third contact.
Oh.
A third contact, okay. We just need their name and their phone number. Who knows phone numbers? I know Jim's. I know mine, and I know DiMaggio's. I don't think DiMaggio's, but it's like the third contact is DiMaggio's pizza.
Is that what you put? No,
I didn't.
Oh, good.
No, because I panicked.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay. Who could I know? I'm like, ooh, my grandson, Jack, is going to school this year. I said, you got Paige Earlywine in the system?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. You want me to look up her phone number? I said, yeah. So Paige is so Paige is the third contact. They're like, well, we'll never probably call her. And they're like, it's not like we don't know where you and Jim are at.
Right.
That's the beauty of living in a small town too, because it's just like and so then I sent Mac a message there, and I said, hey, by the way, congratulations, it's a 16-year-old boy. You're the third contact. He's like, what did you do, Mom? And I'm like, well, son, this is how this happened.
Yes.
But it's funny because with phones, you don't know numbers.
I know. Well, someone asked me for my daughter's phone number the other day, and I was like, don't know it. She hasn't had a phone very long, in my defense. But, I honestly could not tell you.
I know.
I used to be able to tell you anybody's phone number. Like, I had so many memorized.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I know Jim.
And
sometimes I get Jim's mixed with NAL because they're just one number off. But like I said, I always used to joke with my mom and say, well, Mom, if I go to jail, I hope DiMaggio's is opening because it's the only number I know.
Uh-huh.
Seriously. Why is that? I guess.
I don't know, but I can tell you I know Los Tres Caminos' phone number. I do know that one by heart.
Well, there you go. How interesting. But, we got a fun show today.
Yes, we do. We always have a fun show. But today we're going to talk about early Clay City. We're going to talk about the beginnings of Clay City. Because
some interesting
sometimes we focus on Flora because that's what we know the most about and what we find the most information on in our books and things. But we got enough to do a show here on Clay City. So
we did that. We did the Macaulay family, who was the founder of Clay County, or first settler, and we've got a lot of interesting. Clay City's got a lot of rich history.
They do.
We could really dive into that. So does Louisville. Louisville, we are not forgetting you. We are
going to talk to you.
We are getting to you. You're gonna get your day also. but how interesting. There was a lot of really neat stuff. But first off, let's start with our handy dandy ad. Now this ad, I think, let me find the page it's on. I don't know what I'm doing most of the time here. This book is magazine. Oh my God.
Is this a Better Homes and Gardens?
It's a Better Homes and Gardens, yes. And we've used this one before because I really like it. It's got a lot of ads in it. I'll show them the cover, and I'm brutal on these covers. But here's the, if you want to get in there, Ty. This is the cover we've used, which we both really like this cover.
Yes.
Of all my Better Homes and Gardens magazine, this one is my favorite.
I can tell.
It is my favorite, and I'm going through it all the time.
It's a little loved.
But after 70 years, because this is...
that puppy is 70 years old.
1952.
She looks good for her age.
Yeah, she's a little older than that, right? She's actually 71. But I love this one. But when I was... My sister and I, we went to Florida, and Linda and I flew, and I grabbed a magazine, $12.99 for a little bitty magazine, because I'm decorating that rental property we've got, and I can't believe this sucker is full of stuff, and it's 25 cents. Unless you're in Canada, then it's 35.
Oh, well, of course.
But anyway, so.
Okay.
But I came across this. I thought this was interesting because I'm almost thinking that every one of our grandmas had this.
Oh.
Yes. Ty, you want to pull that up, babe? Look at that.
Oh, yes.
Okay, seriously. All right, so everybody out there in TV land, I've always wanted to say that.
The gift of distinction.
Right? Everybody had a clock inside a little globe. Insist on the original. How do you say that? Schatz? S-C-H? Shots? Shots. I don't think that's Schatz. I don't know.
I don't think it's Schatz. I think it's like
Shots.
It's Shots.
You know the song I started singing, right?
No, I do not.
It's like, like shots, like shots.
Oh, yes, I do know that song. Don't tell my kids.
The 400-day clock, imported and guaranteed by Remington Rand. Yeah, my eyes aren't working. But seriously, look at that thing.
400-day clock. What?
See,
what does this mean? Like in
here is the gifts of gifts for mothers on her day, for the June bride, for anniversaries and birthdays. It's an unusual decoration for table, bookcase, or mantelpiece. A masterpiece of age-old skills built of quality materials. This original Schatz 400-day clock, the outcome of 70 years of fine clock-making tradition, measures time silently, leisurely, and accurately. It runs more than a full year on one winding.
Okay, so you only have to wind it every 400 days.
And the slow, even swing of the pendulum, there's a pendulum in there?
Yes.
Intrigues the imagination and imparts a feeling of time slipping by. 5 interesting styles, modestly priced from $49.50 plus tax. In finishes...
That's pretty pricey for back then.
It is, yeah. In finishes to match any decor, provide choice of an attractive, useful ornament and the perfect gift. The original Schatz 400-day clock is available at many fine stores or at most of our showrooms. Or, if you prefer, write for a full-color booklet illustrating the various models. Remington Rand, 60 Main Street, Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Cool.
But yeah, so
everybody did have something.
My
similar
granny
to
had
that.
one of those. Yeah. Who knew they were so expensive?
I didn't, but I did think they were like very fancy. Like I can remember seeing them when I was a kid, and like no touch, like you can't touch that. You know?
Yeah. And I think my those little things, they kind of
it was like mesmerizing.
Yeah, it really
it wasn't a pendulum that went like this.
No, it was like those little balls on the bottom that just kind of
like rotated.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now, and I'm going back to my granny's house. Pretty neat, actually.
Yeah, that is cool.
I thought so.
Yeah, so those were way back to the 50s. Okay.
Yeah.
Did not know
way
that.
back 1952. $50.
Wow.
I'd say $50 back in the 50s was pretty pricey.
I would think so too.
Yeah. So yeah, that's interesting. I love that. And but today's episode, Early Clay City. We're just gonna touch a little bit on everything, aren't we?
We are. Yeah. I've got some stuff on early businessmen, early businesses.
I just found some
a little
interesting.
bit on the schools. We'll just kind of hop all over the place.
Yeah, so let's, you know what? We got a little bit of time before we go to commercial, since we've got a lot to go. Who do you want to hit on first?
Let's see.
I'm all spread out here.
Yeah, you are. Well,
I don't know where we're going to go.
Okay, so I have a list here of businesses that were in Clay City in 1929. And what you guys may not realize is, like, Clay City back then was booming.
Huge.
Oil. And they had tons of businesses. People didn't go to Flora for every single thing they needed.
Did not.
They had lots of grocery stores, lots of gas stations. They had everything.
A hotel, an opera house.
Oh, yeah. So let me just go through real quick. I think I have enough time to go through this list. This is from November the 10th, 1930, exactly. This is what was there. There was a store called Braden's. Owned by a Drayman. I don't know who that is. The Black and Black Service Station, the Black and Hopkins Glass Cutting Business. We talked about that on the Clay City Glass Company. Walter Blackledge Service Station. So there's another. The George Brainerd. He just had a garage. Worked on cars. Russell Barker Blacksmith. So even back then they still had a blacksmith.
Yep, had a blacksmith.
W.H. Beasley Restaurant. Roll Carter Painter and Paper Hanging, William Clinton Auctioneer, Crackle and Son Garage, Jim Emery Woodworkman, John Fry was a cane manufacturer, like walking canes.
Yeah.
John Gill Real Estate, Grant Production Company. They did poultry and eggs.
Let's stop right there and take a commercial break, because there's several more in there.
There are. I thought I had time, but no, there's not. There's more than you think. We'll be
see
right
you in
back.
a bit.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, give me all your guns too.
John Lucas.
What?
You better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. St. Billington and Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we are talking about early Clay City.
Yes.
And it was a happening place.
It was a booming town.
Yeah.
That first oil strike really brought it around,
brought the
didn't it?
people. But even before then, though,
the
like the original people, Macaulay and them, they all started reproducing, and they had families, and they kind of kept it going.
Yeah,
and then the railroad came through, and then all of the people moved a little bit further.
And it's so
north.
funny because it's literally like a half mile up the street.
Yeah, it is not. I
from Maysville.
Yeah, maybe a mile at the most.
Maybe.
But they just moved across the street, basically, closer.
Route 50.
Close. They moved to the other side of Route 50, where it is now, and then they that became Clay City.
Yeah.
And so the railroads really settled the town, and then later oil brought money to it.
Oil brought money.
But in 1930, I'll continue my list of what was all there because it's a pretty impressive list. The W. Goodman Garage. So lots of garages. C. Henderson Physician. So they have their own doctor.
Yep.
The Henry Mix Restaurant. The E. Majors General Merchandise Store. Paget and Weaver Barbers. Harl Petty Restaurant. Payton and Weiler Restaurant. E&A Pierce Hatchery. I guess they were hatching chickens. J.M. Ragsdale Maple Hill Hotel.
Yeah.
So now we've already got a hotel. We've got multiple restaurants, garages, gas stations, stores. Nye Rudder Shoe Cobbler.
I love the shoe. I've got a little bit on the shoe cobbler.
Shoe cobbler.
Yeah, and I love that they call him a shoe cobbler.
Burt Rosenberg Antique Shop. Now, I wish I could
Now,
go
wait
back
a minute. Wait a minute.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that for
because
just a minute.
This is 1930, and he's running an antique shop. What do you think was in there? I mean, the stuff. I mean, he was probably selling stuff from, like, the early 1800s. And maybe late 1700s. That people brought over from overseas.
That would be insane.
If I could
don't think, I mean, seriously, this is just how, you don't think of an antique shop being in 1930.
I guess they had them. Can you imagine if we could time travel back to Clay City in 1930?
That's where my time traveling would go to now.
I would check out his antique shop.
Me too.
Oh my gosh, that would be so cool. And the prices? If we brought today's money in our pocket while we were time traveling, and we went into his antique shop and he'd be like, oh, this is 50 cents. We'll be like, here's 50 cents.
Here's 50 cents.
He's like,
can you imagine
this money looks different.
I'm just picturing like when I'm obsessed with wardrobes. Here's
like
the
great big ones.
It's kind of pricey at $1.72.
I know, right?
I'll take 4.
Yeah, well, with the price, I don't know.
Man. Boy,
I don't know.
I can't even.
Burt Rosenberg. Wish I could know your antique shop. Okay. Alex Rayleigh, another barber.
Yep.
John Ritchie, blacksmith. L.R. Smith, jeweler. If I go to the antique shop, I'll probably stop in the jeweler, too.
The next stop will be in the jeweler.
Snell and Sunday Carpenters. J.S. Swanson, the Rex Hotel. No, that's the second hotel. F.K. Wilson, Poultry and Eggs. More eggs. Wiltsey and Wiltsey Grocery Store. And then there was the Advocate, which was the newspaper.
Yeah, I got a little something on the newspaper
here. And then they had village officers, and this one kind of struck me funny. So the president of the village, his name, you know how men back then, everyone went by their 2 initials.
Yes.
And then their last name.
Yes.
Okay, so his last name was Easley.
Easley.
Okay, and his first 2 initials are E. So his name's Easley. What was his mother thinking? Easley. Easley, are you present?
It's like yes, Easley.
Oh, people.
Oh, my goodness.
F.M. Blessing was the trustee. Then we have Duff, Henderson, Melvin, Crackle, Black, all these Clay City names.
Heard before, yeah.
And then they had rural mail carriers. They had postmasters, township officers, And then they had 4 people that were employed by the railroad there in Clay City. I think they
Wow.
worked at the depot, which we actually have a picture of the
Yeah.
early
Wait,
Clay City depot.
Before we show
don't
the
wanna
picture
show
of
it
the
yet?
depot, let's show the very first picture of downtown.
Oh, yeah. Let's show that early downtown.
Before all this happened, let's show downtown. Not that one, that one right there, babe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that picture. Here's where we're at.
This is South Main Street.
South Main Street.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm assuming, are we looking south end? What's that little dot in the middle of the picture, Beth? They didn't have a stop. They didn't have a stoplight.
It does look like a stoplight.
It looks
there.
like one. I wonder if we're facing south or if we're looking north.
I don't know what that
Clay
is.
City streets are weird, southwest, east, this, southwest,
Oh,
north,
I know,
south, that. Yeah.
But I don't think any of that had started yet because
No.
in my research, none of that was listed as southwest, east,
No.
whatever. It was
Yeah, I
just
wonder which way we're-
north, south.
and
I don't know what that is. It could be a UFO. I've heard that
Well,
those are real now. So it could be
We've
that.
heard about the distractions of the UFOs.
It could be a Chinese spy
A
balloon.
spy balloon.
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is, but that's just really cool. So look how I love the way they just made that mud. I mean, they didn't have. But it looks
No.
like the sidewalks are nice. Look at that sidewalk over there.
Yeah, it does.
But anyway,
Or this
yeah.
is early South Main Street.
this is early South Main Street, and how would you even get a wagon down that street? I look at that when on rainy days. It's like,
I know. I guess you just stayed home, but those horses had to really work.
yeah. Anyway, I love that picture. I've come across that picture
too.
before.
Okay, now let's take a little peek at the depot.
Okay, yeah, now let's talk about the depot. This is what changed. This is what brought Clay City to. This is what happened,
brought
right?
the people to Clay City.
Brought the people to Clay City.
This is their early B&O Railroad depot. So it's called B&O, just like Flores was, because it was the B&O Railroad that went right past there. So that was their little.
Hey, Beth, look
their
at that
little
building right behind it, and see just that little.
Uh-huh.
What building do you think that is? Right behind that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know,
It
but
says
you can see
something
the
Clay
city. It says Clay City something. Mm-hmm. Because I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute. Okay, because that building actually said if you were traveling north, it's set on that on that corner. Yeah, so you're
we're facing south in this picture, right?
No, we're facing north in this
We are?
picture. I think we're facing north in this picture. Because I kind of remember.
You kind of remember where this was?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we are.
Okay.
Then I could be wrong. Because
Well,
there's a big
and
building right. That's the reason why I say that, because there's a big building.
Okay.
Right, because on the other side of the corner was this big, beautiful, was one of the hotels. And that's not
okay.
it.
Okay.
So I don't know. I could be completely, I'm directionally challenged. Mm-hmm. So,
Well,
like I say, if I'm traveling
you're not
somewhere.
directionally
I'm
challenged.
not actually.
You're actually really good with directions.
I am.
So, yeah, don't
I'm
say
probably
that.
right.
Yeah, you probably are. I'm good with directions, too, but I don't know Clay City well enough to know.
Yeah,
I was just thinking that that looked like they're downtown, which would, I
Yeah.
don't know. Anyway.
Interesting. But that's a
Okay.
neat little building.
It is. What do you have on Clay City?
Well, you know what? I'm going to talk. I've got several things to talk about on Clay City, first of all. But I do love. Okay, so I'm a music person.
Yes.
And I played the cornet, which the cornet is like people say trumpet.
Oh,
it's
really?
just the shorter version, like a trumpet's longer.
Oh.
So
I
I
did not
came.
know that.
Yeah. There's a trumpet, which is a longer snout, and then there's the cornet. I played the cornet.
Okay.
Same sound, same thing, whatever. But I found this really interesting article on a woman named Ruth Rao.
Ruth Rao.
Yep. Ruth Rao was the 18-year-old daughter of R.S.C. and Mary DeLong Rao. Okay. Ruth was born in Clay City. Okay. So she's a Clay City girl, original Clay City girl. And apparently she had an extreme love of music.
Okay.
And about the time she entered high school, she developed an overpowering love of music, most especially the cornet.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and you're talking, because, when I was in school, me and maybe one other girl were the only cornet. Trumpet players were all male.
Oh.
So, when I came along, it was just high school, they were 20.
They didn't want you to play the trumpet because you were a girl?
No, but we were just a lot of girls. Girls played clarinets, they played flutes, they played some played saxophone, but when it came to trumpet players, they were mainly all
boys.
All boys. When I was in grade school, I was the only girl trumpet player in elementary or grade school. Grade school. Then when I got to high school, it was the same way. It was like me, and then I think a friend of mine one other girl played.
Well,
But basically it was all men. Because I guess my assumption is because like to play the trumpet you need a lot of air and you need to be able to blow blow a lot of air through there. You need a lot of hot air, and apparently we all know that's all men and me. So anyway, I still play.
I know that you do.
I still love it. So anyway, when I came across this girl that's a cornet player back in the, when did I say she was born? I didn't really say 1800s.
Yeah.
Okay. So this chick played the horn. It stated that Ruth was always had her choice of seat in the assembly hall as well. She later married a gentleman named Everett Bryce Cocklaser, who was from Xenia.
Oh.
So you got a Clay City girl playing the cornet, a Xenia boy playing the cornet, and he was born in Xenia, and later they both played trumpet in the world-renowned Harry James Band. And Ruth not only played the trumpet, but she also became quite the pianist.
The Harry James Band. I'm not
the
familiar
Harry James
with
Band.
that. But
I'm not either, but I'm going to look it up because when we think of bands, we think of, and I just went blank. You know, big band eras.
Yeah.
Steve. Steve Miller Band. We think of all that kind of stuff. But the Harry James Band. So we had two cornet player, a female cornet player born in the 1800s in Clay City, married a Xenia boy. Yeah, I thought that was a really neat. And they're related to Rena Lynch Thomas.
Okay, so say a lot of times you don't see write-ups on any of the women. We have to dig to read something about a woman.
No, we really do, and that, like I said, that woman was part of my own heart there. Well, we got just about another minute. Is there something we could share?
Well, I have a story about a woman who did a lot in Clay City, but she refused to be written about or have her picture taken. So she wanted her husband to get all the credit. I'm not kidding. She ran a grocery store in Clay City for years.
Who would do that?
Well, she loved her man, and
I love mine too, but I'm not going to.
She would not take any credit, even though he had nothing to do with the store unless she needed to grab a sandwich.
Get out of town. Well, give me a little bit of her name.
Her name is Lil.
Lil?
And her last name was Hunley. She was married to A. Hunley.
I read this story. My granny was a Hunley.
Okay.
So I looked up, but yeah,
this is Archibald Hunley.
Archibald, yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I can tell you a little bit more about that.
We got about 45 seconds.
Okay. Well, he was born in 1874 in Clay City, but they started running this grocery store, and he is more interested in his farms and stock raising, and that's why he leaves the store business entirely to Mrs. Hunley. He takes care of it at times while she goes to her meals a few steps away, providing she is absent but a minute or two. He'll leave. He would rather face a zero blizzard and go to his slaughterhouse and dress a hog than to count a dozen eggs. Yeah, he's a kind-hearted man. Everyone loved him, but Lil runs the grocery store, and everybody loved Lil, but she refused, the person that interviewed them, she refused to have her photo taken or sketched of her. They were going to draw a sketch. Nope, she refused that, and she also refused to take any credit.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back, and we'll talk a little bit more about Lil.
Okay.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank.
We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online bank, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be. Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
It's the weekend and your symptoms are worsening. The morning of a big meeting and you have a bigger sore throat. Ever experienced that urgency after picking up your sick child and your community health center has already closed? You will be able to connect to a provider at crhpc.org. Even if you have never been to Feel better after scheduling a video visit with CRHPC.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you could be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I'm Beth Cooper.
I am Stacey Earlywine, and we are talking about early Clay City.
We are, and I was just talking about Archibald Hunley.
I want to hear about Archibald.
And his wife, Lil. So they, he actually had an interesting life. So he spent his early life on the farm near Clay City, as all of these men do. And then they leave, and then what do they come back and do? When a man leaves Clay County, he grows up on a farm, he leaves, and he always comes back to the farm, doesn't he?
Yep, he comes back to the farm or opens a mercantile.
Yeah, so in 1901, he was appointed a guard at the Southern Illinois Penitentiary, where he served under Governor Richard Yates for a few months over 4 years. But then he returned to Clay City. Apparently, he had enough of prisoners, and he entered the farming game again in 1905. And he only did that until 1917 when he purchased the J.A. Rogers grocery store, where he, and this is what the writer says, where he, let us pause right here to state that now and hereinafter, when we refer to his grocery business, it's in his name only, because his wife Lil, as she is commonly known, is the whole thing in this grocery business, and her picture should have appeared beside his, but she would not consent. Now, we back up to say he is still conducting a thriving grocery and meat market in the old building occupied in the 90s by the post office. So some of you may know where that is. That's where their grocery store was, okay? Then it goes on to say, he's interested in the farm. He lets her run the store. He also served in local politics. He ran for sheriff. He didn't win. He did a few different things there for the city, but it does say there is no better-hearted man than Arch. His kindness and the favors he has extended to the needy, his sympathetic disposition toward those who are less fortunate than he, has made him many, many friends, not only among his home people, but all over the county and elsewhere where he is known. But Lil runs the grocery store.
But Lil, and we don't have...
Nope, no pictures.
Yeah, I looked him up to see if we were related.
Yeah.
And I found his picture, but they had several children, but I didn't recognize. My grandmother didn't really talk too much about her history.
Oh, okay.
I knew more about my grandfather's side than my grandmother's side.
I see a picture of him, and he looks like a great guy. I don't have it on the screen, but he looked like it's very small, not clear, but he looked like a nice guy.
Yeah, I looked him up. I want to talk about a gentleman named Will Heiser.
Oh, I have a little bit on Will Heiser.
I want to talk a little bit.
Let's talk about Will.
I'm in love with Will, not going to lie. Will was born on a farm in 1895, and he married, and then he lived on this farm. This is so interesting. On Thanksgiving Day, Will was hunting.
1921.
So he's hunting, must be taking a break. He's got his shotgun down. He's got his little hands resting on top of the shotgun barrel.
First of all, he needs to take a gun safety course because you don't ever do that.
The gun accidentally discharged with both of his hands on the muzzle. Tore away half of both hands. One hand had 3 fingers. The other was left with a thumb and a pinky. So what's this sign? What is that sign? So he was constantly...
I don't know, like groovy dude? Yeah. Is that what Hank
Ty, can you see our fingers? What does this mean? Like if you just do this? It's not...
ASL, it's the letter Y. If you're spelling words, sign language, I don't know what it means.
But the great thing about this guy... so he's handicapped now. Hands. Think about that just for a minute.
Yeah.
And he started a taxi service in Clay City, then a trucking business hauling livestock. He had a wife and 2 kids. He had a wife named Delilah, a son named William, and a girl named Patsy. Yeah. So this guy
Good for him.
Right?
Because he still had to work. Back then, there wasn't disability.
No.
And he obviously was still able to do something, just maybe not exactly what he had done before. So he did what he had to do to support his family. And he decided, hey, I can drive easily.
And that's what he did.
He started a taxi service, which then led into a trucking service.
I find the taxi service in Clay City fascinating.
Yes,
Has Flora ever had a taxi service?
Yes, they have, and I have information on that for a future episode.
Okay, good, because I'm trying to figure. Yeah,
Ty, I don't know if you can zoom in on this picture.
Come down
this
just
is,
a little bit, baby.
This is his truck. So it's kind of got a shadow on it. Stacey, can you move it? There
we go.
Like, I don't know how well you guys can see that truck, but when we say trucking business, like
that's what it is. Look at him.
That's what kind of truck, and there he is standing by it. But look at him, good-looking young guy.
I love Will.
I like his truck too. That's like the first, like an early type semi truck. I think that's cool.
I love that too. Isn't that the best?
Good for him.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Will's.
Yes. So
I really like
it. Said one of the things I had about him. He loved Clay City. He liked to help it grow. He prospered in spite of his handicap. He does not seem to recognize the fact that he has but parts of his two hands. So he doesn't even, he goes on as if nothing happened. And it says he has a wife and 2 children, a son and daughter, and plenty of grit to see
he did.
To see that they live comfortably. I love that word, grit.
I love the word grit,
That's not something that people use a lot in regular conversation to describe somebody. Like, it's not an adjective people pick to describe that person. But I love people that have grit.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah, I think that is like a great
way to tell somebody.
Well, yeah,
you know,
but
somebody that's got grit. They're tough. They're unstoppable.
It's something we should all strive for. I think, like, to have that. In our
nothing's going to bring me down.
Wise. Yes.
I'll get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never going to keep me down. Yeah, I love the word grit too.
I do too.
True Grit, isn't that a Clint Eastwood?
It is a. My mind went blank. Not Clint Eastwood.
It's not. I don't know. True Grit. Who was in True Grit?
It's what's his name?
John Wayne. John Wayne. I should know that. My dad's favorite person.
Oh my gosh, I love John Wayne.
In the entire world. Oh, my dad.
Can't believe I forgot his name.
My dad loved John Wayne.
I made a John Wayne quilt.
You. Please bring it.
I should.
Please bring it.
I should actually. We have a special episode coming up. I should make that quilt happen for our special episode.
You know what? I think we should just lie and say John Wayne was from Clay County and put his face.
Oh, yes. He's probably traveled through here at some point.
I bet he did. Yeah.
He probably ate at the Holland truck stop.
Yeah, probably. We can make it up, can't we?
Yes, we can.
But yeah, grit. We love the word grit.
We do love the word
grit. I hope somebody says that about me.
Yes, I hope so too.
Stacey had a gumption. I like the word gumption.
Oh, I like the word gumption too. Another word I really like is eager. People don't use the word eager. They always say anxious, like I'm anxious to start school or I'm anxious to do that. And it's like, stop. It's you're eager.
Yeah.
You're only anxious if you're also like super nervous about it and uptight.
See,
but if you're just excited about it, you say eager.
Yeah, I agree because anxious, I'm so anxious. It's like, well, then suck it up.
Right.
See, I when I hear the word anxious, I go like, no, you're fine.
Yeah. I don't get anxious.
I don't get
very
anxious.
often.
I do get eager because I'm very excitable.
But I get eager.
Very
and no one uses that word anymore. And
well, let's start. We're going to use grit.
We're going to use it in every episode.
And eager.
It'll be like, everyone will be watching our episodes and be like counting down, like, when's she going to use the word eager?
Well, I am eager to tell you about another gentleman that I love here too.
Okay.
Okay. Now this is short and sweet, right?
Okay.
But his name, of course, I don't know his first name. It's E.
Oh, of course.
McGilton.
Probably Eddie.
Edward McGilton. He was born in 1838, and what I love about him, his first, when he was 14 or 15 years old, he got into shoemaking. So he was a shoemaker.
Cobbler.
He was the cobbler. So he's like shoemaking and all this stuff. I don't think he's the cobbler because that guy still remained, and I'll show you a picture of him in a little bit. This guy was different, okay? He was a shoemaker, but then he thought, I'm really not into shoemaking, so then what do you think he decided to do?
I have no idea.
He was the first attorney in Clay County.
Oh,
Clay City.
Well,
Clay City's first attorney.
That took an interesting turn. Shoe cobbler.
No.
Think I'll make more money over
Law
here.
School.
Law school.
But since we're talking about shoe cobblers real quick, Every town of any size had its local shoe cobbler, and Clay City was no exception. Nye Rudder filled this bill very well. Shown here in this photo of the Rudder Shoe Repair, which was located on the east side of Main Street. It's kind of across where Irwin's insurance office is.
Okay.
But then I've got this whole picture, because, see, this kind of brings it into, so this is Nye Rudder and Bob Wilson in the shoe repair store. Now, I don't know if you can zoom in on this middle picture or not. Some of these pictures were kind of blurry. It's the very middle picture. There we go. I'm going to go this way. Yeah. See, there they are. See, look how cute these guys are, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Up, Ty, I'm moving, you're moving. There they are. Go down. There we go. There is the two shoemakers, Nye Rudder and Bob Wilson, in the shoe repair shop in Clay City. So they're sitting there. They're chilling out. They got their boots on, their overalls on. Yeah. So, I just think that's really cool, the old shoe cobbler.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ty. Yeah. So, but apparently Mr. McGilton was like that, and then all of a sudden decides, I just don't know how you go from being a shoe cobbler.
Maybe that was his lifelong dream. He always wanted to be an attorney, but he didn't have the money to go to law school, so he had grit.
He had grit and gumption.
And he did what he had to do to earn some money, and he knew how to make shoes. I mean, that's a pretty cool skill. I like to sew. I could not tell you how to begin to make shoes. And so he sat down and made shoes and then earned enough money to pay for law school. I'm sure that's what happened.
I'm sure it is, because he had gumption and grit.
He did.
And he was eager to make more money. Oh, goodness. We got a couple.
Roll.
Okay, so do you have another short story on somebody?
Well, I got lots of them.
Pull one out of your hat, sister. You got 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Okay. I love this story. This guy went by the name Jiggs. Everybody knew him as Jiggs. No one knew his real name. But he was Brizenden. He was Frank Brizenden. He was the son of Morris Brizenden, who we talked about last week on the Maysville episode. And he
very prominent family.
Yes, very prominent family. Grew up in Clay City. He grew up in that house that your family owned in Maysville, in that big brick house. But as he was an adult, then the Waddles family was living there. He entered the lumber business with his father for a little bit, but then he went and kind of became a traveler and worked for International Harvester Company. Then he moved to St. Louis, but then everyone comes back to St. Louis or to Clay City. So he came back to Clay City. He purchased the Mills Cafe. So he ran a cafe here in town, and everybody loved him, and everybody knew him as Jiggs. And even if they said, even if there were kids or somebody, they didn't know him personally, they still knew his name was Jiggs. Everybody knew who he was. Said he originally owned that cafe with a partner, but then he purchased him out in 1917. And it says, today he is able to slice the ham, though 22 years have been added to his age. He can slice the ham as well as he could 15 years ago. Okay. Oh. What a skill. I can also slice a ham really well.
I don't know. Okay. Then that goes zoom,
Yeah, but everybody knew him. Everybody loved Jiggs. And people even in other towns knew him as Jiggs, and no one could tell you his real name.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love Jiggs, and we're going to take a commercial break and be right back with more early Clay City.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Pegel's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Pegel Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
The insurance specialists have options to tailor to your needs at CSI Insurance Brokers. Experienced insurance brokers at CSI are skilled with all types of insurance plans and policies and represent many companies, including Safeco Insurance. You'll benefit from their detailed expertise, unbeatable premiums, and commitment to customer service. CSI Insurance Brokers and Safeco Insurance Company, providing affordable rates on quality insurance since 1952.
For over 50 years, at your locally owned and operated Royal King Supply in Salem and Olney, we've helped you and your neighbors enjoy an easy country lifestyle. We carry the most thorough sporting goods department around with a huge variety of hunting and fishing gear, camping equipment, and a variety of firearms for any need. Our team is here to help you find whatever you need. Open every day, it's Royal King in Salem and Olney, your locally owned farm and home store.
And welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we are talking about early Clay City.
Yeah, we've been just rambling on about.
We have. There was
great
interesting,
people.
Really interesting characters, and and a lot of people had nicknames, and they didn't go by their real names, and nobody ever even knew. Like that Jigs, nobody knew. And then you said there was a couple others you knew about.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, well, my family. I had just Clay City's always. I didn't even know a lot of people's. My uncle Mark Franklin was my uncle, and everybody he was an oil man, and they called him Lucky Bucky. So literally everybody would be like, "Hey, where's Bucky?" He was always Bucky. Okay. My uncle, I have Butch Franklin. His name was Gary Franklin, but he always went by Butch.
Oh no! Kidding.
The funny thing about this was I'm 16, and he had a house with a pool, so I drove over, and I was like, "Granny, I need to get a hold of Uncle Butch, and I can't find him in the phone book." She said, "Well, honey, it's Gary Franklin." I said, "What?" She said, "His name's Gary." I said, "No, it's not. It's Butch." And she's like, so I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Judy Land was always Emmy. Judy Waddles was Boog.
Oh, really?
I mean, no, I think Smoothie Land, Dawn Land was called Smoothie. Everybody had nicknames in Clay City.
Yeah, and my mom, she grew up in Centralia, and it was kind of the same thing there. And all of her cousins had nicknames. There was Mooney. And, gosh, I can't think, Sissy, and there was a bunch, I can't think of all of their names, but I think it was pretty common back then for people to have a nickname.
My mom and her brother Floyd were kind of like Irish twins. There was only a year's difference of them, and Mom was Dallas, and Floyd was Uncle Floyd, right? Well, they started out in Sailor Springs, and they were in kindergarten, and they were they called my mom Sissy, and they called Uncle Floyd Bubby and Sissy. So they went to school, and Mom's like, "My name's Dallas." She's like, "No, it's not. It's Sissy." And he's like, "My name's Floyd." He's like, "No, it's Buddy." No, my name. And they argued with that.
That's what they thought their name was. Well, that reminds me of my great-grandma. So my great-grandma on my mom's side, her name was Molly. And then she had a sister named Annie. They both did not know that they had a real other name until they were adults. They were adults, and then they were I don't remember the story, but they did something, and they had to write their full names, and their mother was like, well, that's not your full name. And they did not know. One was like Mary Magdalene maybe, and the other one was like Anastasia something. It was really long names. Yeah. But they didn't even know until that it was anything other than Annie and Molly.
Well, that's how my cousin Buffy, her mother was my mom's sister Barbara. Buffy's name is Barbara too, but she never went by Barbara. Even in school she was Buffy.
Okay.
Buffy Smith, now she's a doctorate, and she's got her she's a pharmacist, a doctor. Oh. And when I see her, Dr. Barbara Katke, I'm like, well, it's so weird to see Buffy because she's Buffy.
Yeah, that would be weird.
I have other cousins that one's name's Laurel, but I've known her my whole life as Nick, and the other one was Andrea. This is on the Hemphill side, and they called her Dooney. She's a grown woman with children. We still call her Dooney. It's so weird.
Yeah.
I'm just glad I didn't get stuck with my nickname.
What was it?
Spacey Stacey.
Oh. That's a bad one.
Well, let's get on to some.
Okay, Clay
City. Speaking of cool names, I came across a gentleman named Israel Mills.
Oh, that's cool.
Israel Mills was born in 1843 in Ohio. And then he came to Clay County in 1865. Clay City. He was a stock dealer dealing in hogs, cows, sheep. He, of course, farmed lands. But the thing about Israel is he eventually became the president of the bank.
Oh, wow.
He became the president of the Opera House. Oh. And he also was the president of the Clay County Farmers Institute.
Good for him.
So Israel Mills was a very prominent gentleman there in Clay.
And back then, everyone volunteered to do things like that.
Always.
But talking about the bank, I know a little bit about the bank.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Yeah, and we have some pictures still to go through too. But I think we have a picture of the bank. We can talk about that.
We'll go back in a minute.
Let's just talk about that.
Let's talk about the Banker House.
This is the Banker House. This was a boarding house that they had there in early Clay City.
Mm-hmm.
And it is no longer standing, of course. Everything cool gets torn down. But that's a neat little place there. And
I've got a little bit about it. It says in 1912 a building was purchased, a house was purchased in 1912 by Francis Titus Banker. This boarding house was with hotel accommodations, served the public for many years. The wife's name was Francis was a gentleman. His wife's name was Jane, and together this place was a beautiful Clay City hotel, a banker house. So, like I said, so they accommodated people, travelers coming through. The people in the bottom is Francis Titus. He's on the left. Francis Titus Banker. Jane is the lady right next to him, Banker. Grace Banker, right next to her, is their daughter, and then an unknown woman to the far right. But the Banker House was a boarding house / kind of hotel.
The unknown woman looks like she was probably the maid or something.
She probably was.
And she doesn't get any mention.
Yeah.
She did everything, probably.
Yeah, but Francis Titus Banker owned and that's why it's called the Banker House.
Okay.
But I think that's a beautiful. I'd like to know. I'm not really. It was located on the corner of Illinois and First Street.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to make another trip to Clay City and check that out.
Okay, Ty, go ahead and run through whatever. Yeah.
There's the bank.
Here's the bank. Yeah, this is the Clay City Banking Company, built in 1892. They started with a capital stock of $10,000, a surplus of $2,000. And it says at this time Israel Mills was the vice president, J.T. Evans, but later that switched, I think. That was their first building.
Yeah.
They stayed there until 1910 when then they... they had a couple different buildings, so then they moved again in 1910. Okay. Yeah. So let's see what other pictures of Clay City we haven't shown, because I feel like there's...
the Coggins building.
Coggins building. This is sits there, right, and I think they recently tore it down, I think. But look at the beautiful architecture at the top, and the cool
beautiful
awning with Coggins on it.
Yeah, and that building, the Coggins building, I think eventually, I'm trying to remember... might have been a grocery store at one time. I know it. I've been in there. It was a restaurant called The Loft. David and Gloria Hutchcraft owned the building, and man, she could make the best meatloaf you ever ate in your life. Yeah, it was the best meatloaf ever. Oh. But yeah, so that was a smorgasbord and a restaurant back when I had my shop over in Clay City. Okay. And the beautiful building. Unfortunately, it's gone. Unfortunately, a lot of Clay City is disappearing on us.
Yeah. What else do we have there, Ty? Have I showed them all?
Oh, we love this one. Yes.
Yeah, this is the very first school building in Clay City, and this was from 1883 to 1917. So it really did not stand all that long.
It's beautiful.
And I don't know why they would have torn it down, because it looks pretty darn sturdy to me.
Does this say where that building was located?
I don't know. I'm assuming it's where the other one is.
I don't know.
Was.
Yeah, why would you tear that? You know that thing's built to last again.
I love how the boys are kind of standing out there either in the snow or like a big puddle. The girls are more on the edge.
I like the little girl standing in the doorway.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay. Let's take a look at the next one, because I think it's this. Yeah. You guys will remember this. There may or may not still be part of this building standing at the site in Clay City or the school, but this was their second school, and it was built in 1917, which is the same year that the Flora Depot was built by Frank Nichols. So this building I actually worked in. Over the years they added on to this building, and they only tore it down in the early 2000s. But there was still, I think, maybe part of the gym or something that was still standing, and I don't know if it still is. But my room that I helped in was all the way up, like on the third floor. And they kind of you can't really. Some of it's kind of been changed. No, there was.
Did they put you in the bell tower, Beth?
Yeah, it was up there. They kind of changed a little bit of that, but no, there was a third floor that had two little rooms up there, and the kids that were in all-day school suspension, I had to sit in there with them.
Yeah, it was probably hot too, wasn't it, in the summertime?
Oh my gosh, that building, yeah.
Talking no air conditioning.
Hot or cold, yes.
Oh yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. So
I love old buildings.
Was that all of our pictures, Ty?
I don't know, but I love old buildings. Why? Oh, no, look at this grand picture.
Yeah, so this is early Clay City downtown. It looks like they're having either a festival or a sale.
I think there's a big sale going on.
I think there's a big sale because I've seen other pictures of Flora where there was a sale, and this is what it looked like. So, holy cow. Black Friday happening right here in Clay City. I know,
but isn't that a great picture?
Yes, I love that picture. I love the wagons and the horses and the dresses. And
it's like the picture of the Scudamore building in Flora when they were having that big sale.
Yeah.
All the wagons.
Yes. What other pictures do I have, Ty? That's it. Okay, that's the last one. So, I did have some, and a lot of these pictures are thanks to Frank Hargis. He's got a lot of great photographs, and I found those on his page.
Taking pictures from it and then going and printing them off and writing on the back. I love having those old pictures.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Once again, you just walk down there, you can just feel the history.
Oh, right.
Coming up around you.
Yeah, well, we are always ending the show with a
nice little words to live by.
Or famous quotes.
Much fun stuff.
What do you have for us today?
Well, I'm going to just look around here in my little quote book.
Oh, okay.
La-di-da. I got to turn the page.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Ooh. Harold Thurman.
Okay.
Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go and do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive and have grit and gumption.
It doesn't
I
say
added
that.
grit and gumption. But really, don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go and do that.
Wow.
Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. That's a cool quote.
That's a cool quote. And there's truth to that. Because if you're excited and happy and doing what you love to do, it makes a difference in the world.
Well, yeah, you can even take that on a biblical. Are you dead in Christ or you're alive in Christ? Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
That's a great Harold Thurman.
Way to go, Harold.
Way to go, Harold. We like that one.
Good one.
You would have only added grit and gumption.
Right. Well, we can write a book, and we can make that our quote.
I think we should write a book. Oh, I have to ask you a question. So, in my absence, when my husband came on the show, did he do the quotes? Did he bring my quote book?
He did not bring the quote book, but I don't remember what we did exactly. I had a few notes on some stuff, and you'll have to watch those episodes.
I am going to watch them.
He was fun. We had a good time.
He's an okay guy.
Yeah, he's okay.
He's okay.
No, thank goodness for Jim that he was willing to come help me out since he left me and went to the beach.
I know. So, yeah, seriously. So that's the other thing. Tell people where they can find us, Beth.
Yes, so we are on Channel 100 on Wabash Catch TV, Monday through Friday. New episodes air on Thursdays and Fridays. And you can always catch us on YouTube. Our channel is By the Way with Beth and Stacey. All of our episodes are on there. You can also follow us on Facebook at By the Way with Beth and Stacey. And if you want to talk to us, send us an email.
Yeah.
It's By the Way with Beth and Stacey at gmail.com.
Yeah, and if you would like to be a guest on our show, we haven't had a guest yet.
We've never done a guest.
I want to do a guest.
Yeah, we should. We should. So if
who are we going to bring?
I don't know. A lot of people are afraid of the camera.
Don't understand that.
I don't either.
I don't know why everybody doesn't love the stage.
Not everyone is us.
And the world went.
Good deal.
All right. Well, that's a great show. That was fun.
That was fun. So thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you have a great week, and we will see you soon.
God bless you. Have a great day.